And is there a camera that's actually working?
Oh, it is Edge Radio Australia, and there is a camera looking right there at you. Look at
there
that,
it is.
Jeff.
The camera's
All
working a treat.
enthusiastic. I know I look different. I look official with a laptop in front of me here. It's it's to make me look like I know what I'm doing.
It's a corporate look.
Oh, it's very corporate. It's even got the logo on. That's very important.
Yes,
That
branding is excellent. On point.
Always on point, mate. Hey, great to see you. Always great to have you here. A great pleasure.
Lovely to be back, Squire. Lovely to be back.
I really always enjoy talking to you, but today might enjoy it even a little bit more because guess what? Okay, we're on pretty much my favourite subject. It's cars.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking of you when I picked the subject.
I appreciate this very, very much indeed. Trust me. Now, I have always said I'm very much this. Look, I'm a ref head, so therefore I'm anti-electric cars. Okay, I really am anti-electric cars. Oh, but my arm's being a bit twisted lately. It really is. I'm starting to look at them in a different way. Mm-hmm. I've got friends who have actually bought them, who have good runs. I mean, it's like anything in life. There's positives and negatives. Okay, there's advantages and disadvantages to all of these things.
Yes.
But at the moment, my word, from a taxation point of view, for your own personal finances, the incentives coming from government are just insane.
They're amazing. They're absolutely amazing.
Yeah, changed a whole lot.
Yes, well, the Greens had the balance of power, of course.
Yep.
When Albanese got in. And, God, within 3 months, the first major push for legislative change was the taxation concessions for electric and hybrid vehicles. Yeah, it's quite amazing.
Huge change. So, I mean, look, the advantage for leasing an electric car over, and this is plug-in hybrids too, I might add.
Yes.
And that's changing. There's some
It is, yes. Yes, there is. I've got the details on that for you.
But the difference between that and a traditional petrol or diesel-powered fuel vehicle, it is just... It's night and day.
It is. It is.
These things are all but paying for themselves.
They are. Well, comparison, like in the trade, we use acronyms like ICE.
Sure.
What does ICE stand for? Internal Combustion Engine. Yeah. So you're being a car man.
Formula One do.
Car man, you'd know that. So the ICE cars are essentially diesel and petrol, and novated leasing and salary packaging has been around since the late 70s.
Sure.
So it's not a new idea.
Not at all.
And so all those cars have been able to be salary packaged through your payroll, as long as your employer allows the benefit to be offered to their employees. So it's a condition on the employer.
Okay, because this is something we've talked about before with other kind of leases, and all sorts of novated leases, I guess. But a lot of employers are not actually aware that they can offer these things.
That's true, yeah, especially the smaller employers. Mm-hmm. So the industry it evolved through government employees and the corporates.
Yep.
And about 80% of the 6,500 novated leases that are signed up each month in Australia, it's quite a big number.
Certainly is.
It's a big number. But 80% are really controlled by about 4 of the major companies that offer this as a service, and big multi-billion-dollar listed market cap ASX companies, like big operations. And so they would normally only deal with government departments and the big corporates, the Woodsides and Rios and so forth, because they would get the scale of deals, and just straightforward. So
I'd rather be dealing with 10,000, buyers, purchases.
Exactly, because the revenue comes off finance and insurance and the things that are attached to the novated lease vehicle, and so you can see why they do that, and that's fine. It's their business model. But fortunately, 3 of the really good ones that I work with, who are on my panel, because I do run the only novated leasing brokerage in Australia. Okay. It's a national company. I ran it out of my office in Subiaco. They've allowed me to bring employers with low numbers of employees. The quid pro quo, of course, is I bring in bigger employers as well, with 200, 300, 400 employees. But so we've opened it up to the SME market, which has been fantastic, the small to medium enterprise market with the lower end. And these guys love to offer benefits to their staff, but they don't want to pay any extra. And so that works well. So it's an education thing.
Okay. I mean, as I say, like, the incentives have to be good to turn me, right? Okay. Because as I say, I am the absolute opposite to your audience when it comes, or well, not your audience, but for the electric car industry.
Yep.
my word, they have really given a great argument. And right now, in the financial climate that we're in, there has never been a better time. Okay.
No, there hasn't, Aaron. I mean, we, as you know, I had a financial planning company for many years, and dealing with employees and employers, but many employers, they're employees of their own companies, so they're on salary and they get pay slips, and so as long as you qualify as an employee for novated leases designed for private motor vehicles, not commercial, then the tax breaks have always been there. About half of the total cost could be paid pre-tax as a budget for all your fuel, your tyres, your insurance, plus the finance. Roughly half and half could go before tax and after tax, roughly. And so the half that was, so in simple terms, it was 20 grand a year in total, and 10,000 could be paid pre-tax, and your tax rate was 48 cents to the dollar. You'd save 4,800 in tax.
Exactly.
Or 3,200 if you're on a 32 cents in the dollar. So there was a 3 grand a year tax saving, like a tax credit back to you each year. So 10 grand over the life of a $40,000 car, whatever, So that was
as a self-employed person, but as someone with a small business, people who are looking at that way. Okay, these are the tools of your trade so often, right? The vehicle, it's not just, oh, I want a nice car. It is a case of, I need a vehicle for my business. So you need to be reliable. You need to be looking professional, all those sorts of things. So it does make a lot of sense to be looking at newer vehicles and well-maintained vehicles. And a big part of the novated lease, as I understand, is the maintenance, which is a great thing. When, as a business, when you do need to turn it over, the value is probably higher, I would tend to think, than something that hasn't got such a firm service history. Yeah,
look, roll back a little bit, because I've just got to make it clear to all the listeners on who the ATO make this salary package benefit for. It's for an employer to offer it to their staff.
Right. Yep.
Because it's for private vehicle only. So it's not for business use.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah. So employers like it because they can offer a benefit to their staff and their staff are happy.
Yep.
There's no cost or liability or fringe benefits tax issues for the employer. So there's no real pushback on the employer once they understand that.
Right. Great retention tool, I would tend to think.
Good staff retention and attraction is they're both very, very good. And also employers quite like it because if a high enough number of their staff take the benefit on board, it actually reduces their taxable income, which reduces the payroll tax bill.
Of course it does.
Yeah. So there's a lot of benefits there. But if we talk in terms of the $20,000 example I gave you for the total cost that could be salary package, roughly half goes pre-tax, which is where the tax benefits are, and the other half is a post-tax where there's no tax benefits because it's an after-tax cost. With the EVs that we've now, the green's allowed to happen, 100% of that 20,000 is now pre-tax.
Yeah. And that's a huge difference.
And that's the big one. It's
really
like, you can have a $65,000 car and pick up, 45,000 of tax credits, real tax back.
Yeah.
Not tax deductions, tax back.
Credit.
Right.
Credit,
over, say, a 4-year lease. So $65,000 car and you get 40 plus in tax back. It's hard to believe, but it's true.
I know. I'm literally sitting here. I'm basically speechless because, I mean, it's so attractive. It is. I mean, it's obviously designed to get more people in electric cars. That's what it's all about. Now, with hybrids, has hybrid got the same? Is it in the same situation as Ford?
It is, but a limited time on it.
Okay.
And so the government said, and they're sticking to it. There was an announcement with Senator Pocock the other day that a plug-in hybrid enjoys exactly the same tax benefits, 100%.
Right.
However, the cutoff is the 1st of April 2025.
Just around the corner.
Ooh. Where the cutoff for your full electric vehicle is 1 July 2027.
Oh,
yeah.
Quite a magnet.
Yeah.
It's a massive difference.
Yeah. So, and of course, you don't have to run your leases in 1 year blocks. Like
Oh.
if you get paid fortnightly, it doesn't have to be 26 fortnights.
Okay.
Times 3 if it's a 3-year lease. Because what you can do, you can break it down into months, and we're doing quite a bit of that at the moment, just to maximise the tax benefit for our clients. So we've just completed one the other day. It was one of these new, it's called a smart car.
Yep.
It's a Chinese car. It's not the BYD, but it's similar. Right. And we said, look, pardon me. We said basically, why wouldn't you go for a shorter lease? And this vehicle is due in February next year, so we did right. Let's do a 26-month lease, right? That'll pull it up in April 2025.
Right.
And then if you really like the electric vehicle experience, you've got time to decide, do another lease on this car and keep it.
Sure.
But of course, the maximum lease term the ATO allow you is 5 years.
Yeah.
So you could go, I've got 2 options here.
Right.
I'll do another lease for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're only 2 months off the cut-off point for 1 July 2027.
You are.
But of course, they're all going to be grandfathered if you already got a lease for the full lease term.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So all the new entrants won't get a look in after 1 July 2027.
Right.
But if you've already got a lease in situ,
yes,
it'll go past that date.
roll it over.
It'll be grandfathered to the end of its natural lease term.
Okay.
And so the little trick we're doing with our clients, well, it's not really a trick, it's just sort of giving them good advice, is to say, righto, well, let's do a 26-month lease. We'll pull it up in April.
Yep.
There's a residual pay-it figure at the end. You either finance that residual pay-it figure and do a 5-year lease on that if you want to, and get the maximum tax benefits for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Or sell it in the open market and then do a lease on a brand new one, because the technology is advancing so quickly, especially with batteries, right? Yeah. That's where the technology's moving. Because so you go, right, well, the technology's going to move a lot in 26 months. So we'll have that option as well to investigate the EV market in 26 months' time. And then we might go for a new one if the new technology is there, and take that one for a maximum of 5-year term. Okay. And so it's just really guiding the clients around all the rules.
And that's the beauty of the advice, okay?
Yeah.
That's the beauty of you linking people together with the people who can actually give the great advice on this as well. Because, all of us, we've got our expertise in whatever we do. Well, we can't cover everything.
No.
And with things like this, like that 26-month thing, I never would have considered that.
No.
Not for a million years.
No.
I would have thought, look, I'm going to have to take a shorter lease, or I'm going to have to run it, or I'm going to have to run over and only get the tax break for part of it. Yeah. I wouldn't know that you could do that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
It's great. It's clever, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Yes, yeah. And so,
and if you're from, there's another side of it, you could increase the length of the loan that way if you like, because the fact that you're taking the fresh loan out at 5 years at the end of that time, or am I wrong on that?
Well,
not that I think you'd want to be honest with you, but I'm just saying about
it's just a
flexibility.
All you got to do is work within the rules depending on your personal situation.
Sure.
And the ATO set the rules on the lease term, and but you don't have to do it year by year by year. You can pick your months.
Okay.
So something else that we had to remind a client of the other day, which was quite important, and thankfully we documented all this when he signed up for 2 5-year leases. He bought one for his wife and one for himself, 2 brand new Teslas, and we did 3-year quotes and 5-year quotes, and we explained at the time that not a bad idea to go for a 3-year lease, because if you're locked into these leases for the lease term and the residual payout figure,
sure,
you can't pay them out early. Well, it's strictly not true. You can, but it's cost prohibitive, because if you sign up for a 5-year lease and you want to get out after 3 years, your penalty, so to speak, is that you have to pay every lease payment for the 5-year period.
What?
Yeah, you're locked in. That's the get out.
to get out of it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
okay. That makes it's a massive-
And so that they're like the old TV rental. You're old enough to remember the TV rental agreements, like me.
Yeah.
And so all the bloody poor uni students are shared houses, and someone gets the nod to sign up for the TV rental agreement. There's 5 of you in the house, and the poor bugger that signs up for it, of course, he gets stranded because everyone leaves, and he's on the hook, and he or she is locked in for the whole lease term, and you can only pay them out if you pay all the remaining rental payments to get out of it. And it's the same with a novated lease.
Oh.
So these guys that bought a red one and a grey one at Tesla's, well, they didn't buy them, they leased them. They phoned up the other day and said, now, look, we're thinking of getting a payout figure. Oh, hey, why's that? Oh, well, we might have a change in electric cars.
Right.
I said, you do remember the conversation we had around this? It's cost prohibitive to get out of them. Oh, yeah, can we have the payout figure anyway? I said, yeah, no problem at all. So here's the payout figure. It's like you've been in it for 18 months.
Yep.
You've got a bit to go here, 3.5 years.
So after they got up off the floor and stop crying.
Yeah, stop crying.
I'm going kind of winding back, and it is linked to what you're saying here, but just follow me here.
Yeah.
As far as the tech changes so much. Now, actually, an associate of mine has a Tesla that must be about 4 years old now, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And look, to be absolutely honest with you, they're all the same to me. I can't tell the difference. And as a car guy, that's unusual to say, but the car-wise, they all the Teslas haven't changed a lot, right? They're very, very similar. But he was telling me the battery technology is night and day different. So a 4-year-old Tesla compared to a Tesla now, and the construction methods, they are a vastly different vehicle, even though they look very much the same.
Yes.
So that's where we are on that. So from that point of view, he obviously thinks, okay, it is time to roll it over and get another one.
Yeah.
He loves it. He absolutely loves it.
Yeah.
But it's getting to that point where it's a better deal to move it on.
Yeah, absolutely. And Elon Musk, to his credit, right at the start, he said, look, these are nothing more than computers on wheels.
Yeah.
And we know how long computers last, and they've got to be upgraded or they be replaced.
Sure.
And these are, and that's another thing we talk to our clients about, because we're going, now, so many people have made money on novated leases because they choose the right car with the right resale value.
Right.
So Toyota, right? Well, if we've got these universities, they've just finished uni, postgrad kids' first job, and they'd come in and they go, right, I can get a novated lease, and been told to come and see you, Jeff. No worries. So what do you think? Oh, well, Dad's been a Ford man, and we're going to get a Ford Fiesta. I go, oh, righto. They're like $16,900, drive away, no more to pay from John Hughes. And we go, okay. Have you thought about a Toyota Echo? No, what's that? Well, it's the same car, same price, but it's a Toyota, not a Ford, because we really want to make sure you've got the appreciated value as high as possible at the end of the lease term, because we'd like to have the residual payout figure less than the vehicle value, because the vehicle value at that time is 9,000,
sure,
and your lease payout's only 6. That's fantastic, because you could sell it for 9, pay your $6,000 residual payout figure off, and the $3,000 profit you've made is actually a capital gains tax exempt item.
Is that right?
You don't pay. You don't have to declare it, and so that's an important discussion to have, because traditionally with your ICE cars, you could pick a Toyota over a Ford all day long, right?
Okay.
And
I don't know, I'm a Ford man, so. but I understand what you're saying on the resale value.
On the resale value, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the most, I don't know. After a nuclear war, what will be left? Cockroaches and Land Cruisers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much it, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Hardy as hell. But where I was going with that line of thought was the new frontier with electric vehicles. They haven't been around long enough to establish the resale value.
It's very true.
You see?
So true. And
with technology going so quickly, especially in batteries, you're going, hard to know whether the resale value will be higher, hopefully, than the residual payout figure on the lease.
Yeah. It's
And
new
so
territory.
it's brand new territory. So we just say to clients, look, yep, brilliant tax deductions, but the sleeper here is how well this vehicle will hold its resale value vis-a-vis your residual payout figure at the end of the lease. And so if you've got a $65,000 Tesla, at the end of 3 years, your residual payout figure is about 45%.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And so you go, oh, righto. So, 33,000, right, ish. You go, I hope the car's not worth 20 because my residual payout figure is 33.
Yeah, there's a bit of a gap there.
I don't want to be 13 grand out of pocket. And no one knows because it's so early.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, I won't sugarcoat it. I mean, my eyes light up on the tax deduction side.
Yeah.
They really do. That's if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't even considering it.
Yes.
Wouldn't be a conversation I'd even have.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've got some friends who are right into electric cars. They absolutely love them.
Yep.
So, it's sort of, again, much like the resale values, because it is a new thing, I'm not sure. I'm not there yet. I want to know more and more and more. But I can't help, and certainly with the hybrid stuff, I love the hybrid stuff from the point of view of it gets rid of the range anxiety issues. You've still got your ICE engine. You've still got that. You don't have to worry about the fact that, if it goes flat, well, I'm stuck. No, you're not. You kind of flick it over. It's a bit like having a car in LPG. You've got the two tanks and away you go.
Yes.
So, there's a lot there. I think that we have to be fair and we've got to keep our eyes open and look at how things change and evolve. But certainly with the attraction that these tax deductions and these tax credits do,
it's amazing.
It's really hard not to. You're almost dragging me down.
Yeah. Look. Well, there's a couple of things, right? Everything's right about what you said about the tax breaks, and employees do not have much access to tax deductions.
No, they don't.
Hardly any. If you run a business, yes, you've got legitimate tax breaks. Yeah. But if you've got if you're an employee, what can you claim? Hardly anything. You can salary sacrifice a laptop if you can prove that you use it for work.
Yep.
Obviously, you can salary sacrifice super, but you can do that anyway. And there's not a lot. But if you can save $3,000 to $10,000 a year in tax, then that's fabulous because that money can go towards your mortgage, your kids' education,
that's right,
your next Bali holiday, whatever. It's just not going to the tax man.
Well, I can tell you right now, old Anthony Albanese is not doing great work with it. So I would rather have that money in my hand that I can do something productive.
Yeah, dead right. Have the choice, Aaron. Have the choice of how you spend your money. And so, so that is a big one. And so we're really basically saying to clients, well, these are the timelines you've got to operate within. So it's April 2025 for plug-in hybrids.
Sure.
It's 1st of July 2027 for all other electric vehicles.
Okay.
And get in while you can because these are tax breaks that are the most generous I've seen in 30 years for employees.
Sure.
Like 100% tax deductible. You've got to be joking.
I've never heard that before in my life.
I mean, the only thing that goes close to that is super because you can, on top of your employer contribution, the superannuation guarantee levy to super. So the employer's putting in 10 grand.
Yeah.
Well, you can put in another 20 grand and get a full tax deduction.
Of course.
But that's it.
And as an employee, like you really, as you said before, it is so hard. There is just, back in the day, there were so many more things you could claim. Now it's just getting unbelievably tough.
Yeah.
Even just your clothing, the laundry, all of that sort of stuff. They've capped all of that now. So, any way that you can reduce your tax legally and responsibly, rather, I think it's a very positive thing.
I think it's great.
And you use that money for something else.
Yeah.
Right? Use that money for, look, hey, paying the house debt down. I don't know. Look, there's other things you can do. You could be dumping it into your super for your retirement. There's lots of things you could be doing with that saving.
Totally. Absolutely. Totally. And of course, you've got the cause and effect of all this. If you run the numbers on saving 10 grand a year in tax and you put that towards super where you can get a tax deduction and you run that for, say, the maximum you can do that now is for, say, 8 years, right? Just short of 8 years. If you maximise a 5-year term at the start of July 1, 2027,
Yep.
then if you do the numbers on that money going into super or going off your mortgage and you get a reasonable rate of return, say an investment return, well, it's very significant for the 5 or 8 year period. But then if you blow that out based on how compound works through to age now to retirement, say 20 years away, then the saving on the 10 grand a year saving on your tax for 3 years, call it, 30 grand.
Sure.
But if it's another 5 years, it's another 50. So that's 80. So 80,000 saved, invested today. Over the next 20 years, by the time you get to, say, self-funded retiree stage, say 60 years of age, what's that 80 going to be worth then?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
so it could be that your novated lease on your electric vehicle could easily be you've got an extra $300,000.
No way.
More.
Really?
In retirement. Yeah. Because if you do the compound growth on 80 grand over 15 to 20 years in super with a concessional tax environment, that's easily going to double. Well, it's 7%. It's going to double.
Sure.
Right. Every 10 years. Agreed?
Yeah, agreed.
All right. So 80, 160.
320.
Okay. Because
makes sense.
There you go.
Again, like when you're not dealing with this every day, you don't think that way. This is a brilliant thing. Brilliant thing. A couple of questions coming. In fact, many questions coming in. So if you excuse me, mate, I better throw them your way. Now, Trevor Longwood has come in. Thank you very much for your message there, Trevor. How many cars can be financed at once? Jeez, you see my garage everywhere. How many cars can be financed at once? Can I do a second car for my wife?
Okay, great question, Trevor. Thank you for sending that one through. There is no limit. It's just a tax calculation. So the fat cat public servants for years, the $500,000 boys here in town in Treasury have been known to have up to 5 novated leases.
Really?
Yeah, so 1 each for them and their wives and their 3 kids.
Of course.
Because the only other tax deduction they've got is super.
Right.
And they're maxed out on their super because they're earning $500,000. So they can't put any more into super and get a tax deduction for it. So what have they got? They've got novated leasing. That's it.
Yep.
Unlimited. It's just a tax calculation.
That's incredible. Okay, that's a lot. Now, great question here from Lisa. What about husband and wife businesses?
A great question, Lisa. The rules are you've got to be employed and to be able to produce pay slips.
Okay.
So whether you're employed via doing a job for Woodside or whether you're employed by your own company or trust, mum and dad business, which is Lisa's question, doesn't matter.
Okay. As long as you get pay slips.
Pay slips.
Sure.
You got to produce your pay slips, have a credit rating, you go through the normal finance application.
Sure.
Privacy disclosure, your credit rating gets checked out. Just like a normal loan, that process is identical, but you need to be an employee with pay slips, legit.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
A lot of people I know won't want a hybrid, won't want an electric car, but obviously novated lease is still very much open to them.
Correct.
For an ICE engine, a diesel or a petrol.
Mm-hmm.
So they can come and see you about that sort of thing as
absolutely.
well?
Yeah, absolutely. So wealthbydesign.com.au, they just go there and there's a button to book in a calendar appointment.
Sure.
So it's just click and you'll find a spot that suits you or time of the day and we don't work on weekends, but just normal business hours.
You've got to have some time off, mate. It's okay. I know how hard you work, so we'll give you the week.
Thanks very much, man. Very kind of you. And that's easy. Or they go straight to our Novated Leasing website, which is simply NCLO, which stands for Novated Car Leasing Options. And they can go and have a play with a calculator in there, work out what their tax savings are, work out what the reduction to their take-home pay will be after all the tax calcs are done, and they can still go and book in for an appointment.
Okay, I've
Yeah.
just popped it up on the screen there.
Mm.
So you can go to wealthbydesign.com.au, and that's actually got the section there that you can, get in contact with
Yes,
you. Book
there's
the-
calendar links all over the site. You know,
fancy, mate.
book
You're doing very
Jeff.
well indeed.
Schedule a call with Jeff. They're everywhere.
Oh, look at that. All right, mate. We'll call it a show. What do you think? Thank you for all that advice on cars and well, basically ways I can own more of them. I like the sound of that. It's been
Always here to help, Aaron. Always here to help.
It's wealth by design.